everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Things That I Wish My Mama Told Me podcast with me, your host, Emma Tamsin Hill.
And me, your other host, Clara Hermit. I want to say Clara Elizabeth Hermit because I feel like,
You've said this before in that episode.
But just then I was about to say Clara Elizabeth Hermit, which I never say, but you've got three names. I
know,
want three.
But people think, I've said this before again, people think Tamsin's my last name, but it's not. It's just my middle name because, as I have also said, Emma Hill is boring.
Yeah, okay. I know we've established this before, but just hearing you say that, I was about to say, without thinking Clara Elizabeth Hermit.
Do it.
Have to say my full government name.
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will. We're back for another episode. We're excited, I guess, about this episode.
I feel like it's going to be a little bit funny.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit funny.
And it's going to be heartfelt but funny at the same time because I've got some stories for you.
You've got stories
for
days. And I feel like I have stories as well, but I also, I think a lot of them I've forgotten about, or pushed to the back of my mind.
Yeah, try and forget about.
Yeah, and try to leave in my past.
Yeah.
And then as I start to think on today's topic, I'm like, oh, that happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of things there.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking all about breakups.
Jazz hands.
Heartbreak, breakups, just general stories that we have in romantic relationships.
Yeah. And breakups are notoriously difficult.
Oh, so bad. So bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Especially when you're not the one doing the breaking up.
Oh,
you're
no.
the one that gets broken up with.
Yeah. And I've said, this year is the year that I've been broken up with most out my entire life. I've been broken up with a good few times this year.
Yeah.
One major one, and then also a few ghosting incidences. Is that a word?
Incidences, yes. Incidences. Well done.
Incidences. Anyway.
Yeah.
A few ghosting incidents, which I'm taking as a breakup as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year has been rough. My love life this year has been rough as a dog's.
Yeah. I mean, my life's been like that for 5 years, mate. So
maybe this is the start of my 5 years.
Welcome to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I too have experienced some interesting things.
I feel like your brain's just gone blank.
Over the last 5 years. No, I think it's not that it's gotten blank. I think basically because over the last 5 years since ending things with my ex-boyfriend, which I ended things with him, I haven't dated that many people. I literally haven't. And I haven't slept with loads of people. I haven't been out there like that because I've done that before and I've got that out of my system. And I was just I think what my last breakup made very clear to me by experiencing what I don't want, it made very clear to me what I do want. And so having that, it's if I know I want these things, why am I accepting things that aren't that or that don't align with that? That doesn't make any sense. So don't get me wrong, there have been definite slip-ups along the way and we all know about my love of a holiday fling by this point. But outside of that, I'm just kind of if we're not aligned or if we don't kind of want the same things or whatever, then there's just no point doing it.
You're very, very good with your boundaries and what you do want and what you don't want in a relationship. And if someone doesn't have the things that you want, I think you are very, okay, done. Whereas I'm just a bit of a bag. And I'd be like, oh, they don't want what I want. But let me just carry it on for a little bit, which just doesn't serve anyone, especially not me.
It doesn't, but I've had a lot more practice than you. And I've done exactly the same thing as you for a long time as well. And I just think it's at some point I pulled ripped the Band-Aid off and was just I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this anymore.
You should become so sick of it.
I don't want it. This is not what I want. I got to stop. I don't know why I'm American now. I've got to stop accepting it. So yeah, that definitely happened for me at a certain point. And don't get me wrong, it's been testing because when I've the guys that I have dated, especially when it hasn't gone to plan, it has triggered some stuff for me, but that's been an opportunity then and there to become super self-aware of it and to really work on it in the moment, which I have done. And so now the experiences that I'm having now are even more evolved and I like it.
Yeah, and it's just a lot more fulfilling when you know what you want and you're getting that from the person that you want.
Yeah.
Instead of just being la 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 and just letting it go whichever way, which more time just gets you hurt.
Or in my case, it's that you're not getting anything from anyone other than yourself a lot of the time. But that's okay because what you're doing is when people are coming along who aren't aligned with you, that you are able to say no to them rather than, kind of investing time and energy in them when you already know it was never going to be able to go in the direction you wanted it to, but you did it anyway. And then you end up hurt and then you wasted all that time and energy. So I think stopping it before it goes down that path because you realize that ultimately you guys are not on the same track. That's a big deal for me to be able to do that and to say that I can do that. So I just end up, you know, not spending. It's not like I'm on my own all the time. I'm doing things with my friends and enjoying life, and you know, like, yeah. Even really recently, there was a guy that I like met when I was in my early 20s, and like slept with when I was in my early 20s, and then I haven't seen him for ages, and we saw each other again recently, and we have like some mutual friends, and we've started hanging out a bit, and I was just like, there was this part of me that was like, why isn't he doing what I want him to do? Because I'm like, I still fancy him. There's still like a bit of chemistry here, but why isn't he doing what I want him to do? And then I was like, hold on a second. That's because this is who he is, right? And like he doesn't, I don't think that he particularly wants that with me or is ready for that with me. And I have to respect that. And I'm like, why would you want to like force something from someone or try and force something that isn't there? Just let it be what it is, a friendship, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's like realizing that rather than allowing it to impact me and ruin a good friendship and like all of that kind of stuff, which I probably would have done in the past.
Yeah.
So here we are.
What
Growth.
What is your usual, like, I don't want to like routine after a breakup? Like, you know, when you go through a breakup and you're hurting, like, what do you do to make yourself get back to yourself and feel good again?
With the relationships that I've had that have been like longer, like actual committed relationships, I've ended all of them. And not to say that there's loads and loads of them, there isn't, and a lot of them were when I was in my 20s. And then obviously the most recent one in my 30s I ended as well. And so I think, like, if I'm being honest, in all of those relationships, the one when I was the kind of one when I was the youngest, the guy was like super controlling, emotionally abusive, like all of that kind of stuff. And by the time I got to the point where I was like, I am done with this, something switched in my head and I was like, no more, this is no more. So again, at that point, it was kind of easy because all of the pain and stuff had already been dealt with within the relationship. And I feel like that tends to be my pattern in a sense that I give it as much as I can. And I communicate with people, I tell them what I need, like from them, etc., etc. But if it goes on for a certain amount of period and they don't make any changes or they're not able to do that, I have to accept them for who they are, not who I want them to be. And so I feel like I go through most of the upset and hurt whilst being in the relationship.
I think that's the case for a lot of women though. Like they say that we check out emotionally way before like a man does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we just like carry on the situation for a bit longer until we're ready to like get over it.
So what about you? Because you said like this year you've had your fair share of kind of like rejections and breakups. So what do you do?
So after like I don't want to call it a big breakup, but I guess it's like the biggest breakup I've had like in the past few years. So like obviously I was dating someone for like a good 8-9 months. Then he ended it with me.
Yeah.
After that, that was a heartbreak.
I remember because
we spoke about it before on the pod, and I was that probably was like one of the hardest heartbreaks that I've had because like my breakup from my ex, but like I had a boyfriend in high school and whatnot. That was calm. I ended that, and then obviously my breakup with my other relationship that was like really toxic. That because it was so toxic, like there was just so much going on, and also like it wasn't a clean breakup. Like we carried on talking for like a good year after, so it was just messy as. So there wasn't like that real heartbreak feeling. Whereas because it was like a clean breakup, and there was like no one did anything to hurt the other. But like it wasn't like that. It was just like this isn't going to work long run. So, and it was like a clean break, and it was like we shouldn't talk to each other for a while and whatnot.
No, both of you were very mature about it.
I was mature because he was mature. Like I had to be mature because he was mature. He's not a toxic kind of person.
Yeah, the boundaries were quite
He's that
strong.
he's like firm in his boundaries and stuff like that. And the way he saw it was like, I really care about you and I do not want to hurt you. And I feel like if we keep in communication right now whilst we're both trying to get over this, we will hurt each other, and I really don't want that.
Yeah.
So that he was very, very emotionally mature, and just, which also I feel like makes it harder because like, why are you so emotionally mature? Like it's making me fancy you more, and we're not together anymore. But like that was like, luckily, like now we actually have sort of built a friendship now. Like we broke up in like April time, and like we don't see each other all the time because we know it'd be too much emotionally, because we still do feel a lot of feelings for each other. Like I love him. Like maybe I don't know how I feel about this actually. Do I still love him?
Do you?
Yeah. Like, but it's yeah, but in a way, I feel like I'm lying to myself right now.
Mm.
Do I love him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I still love him.
Mm.
But it's different. Like, it makes me sad sometimes. Like, we are, like, trying to build a friendship, but obviously a friendship with boundaries that's, like, not too much, because obviously we do still love it, or at least
And that's
I know how
really
I still
hard
love
to
him.
be around
And it
someone you
is
feel
hard.
like that.
And because, you know what it is? Like, sometimes we'll speak on the phone. We've only seen each other maybe 2 or 3 times since our breakup. So since April, in 5 months, we've seen each other like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And one of them times he was like dropping something at my house. Like, he came to my house and dropped off flowers. Like, how crazy is this, right? So when I shut down All Body, he knew that I was shutting it down. And when we were together, we had he knew a lot of what was going on. So months prior to me announcing that I was shutting All Body, like, I knew from like February, March time that I was shutting it down, and I was having a hard time accepting it and accepting that that was what I wanted to do and needed to do. And he helped me a lot through that. Like, there was one night that I was really upset, and he's like, "Come, I'm going to pick you up. Let's go on a walk." And we went on a walk, and then we went and had some food, and he took me to the pub, and like we had like buying shots and all sorts. It was like a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And then we went home, and he was like, to tell me what's wrong, because I was like in bed sobbing in his bed, and he was just like hugging me and holding me. And so he knew like all about what was going on there. So when he knew that it was the day that I was shutting it, he like showed up at my house with flowers and a card, and he was like, "I'm outside, let me in." Very bold of you to assume I don't have another man here.
Yeah.
Which I don't, but yeah, he was like, "I'm
Never
outside."
know.
Which obviously is like kind of like, oh, like it's just, but I know his intentions were genuine. So then you're like, yeah, I saw him then, but it is hard, because like sometimes we'll speak on the phone, and I just think, oh my God, like I literally just want to call you and be like, I'm coming over now, and show up outside your house and get in bed and cuddle and just watch TV.
Yeah,
But that's what I want, and I can't have that, and that's what hurts these days.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like obviously I've dealt with it. Like, at the time, the heart wrenchingness, but like I was ready for him. I don't think he was ready for me.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he'll use that. Like, it's a bit annoying, because even now I'm like, what was the reason we broke up?
Yeah.
He, like, his reasoning for ending it was like, I feel like we're gonna become toxic. But it's like,
maybe he feels that he's going to become
yeah,
toxic.
But he's using "we" as a.
It's not
like,
we.
I
Well,
feel like
your relationship would if he was.
Yeah, and it's, you know what? I truly believe everything happens for a reason, and everything will be happening for my good. And it's like, I was compromising in a lot of areas that I maybe shouldn't have in that relationship, that ultimately down the line would have made me unhappy. So I believe that like that was for the best for me. But like, there's no true reason, because I know how he feels about me. Like, and ever since we broke up, like, he's maintained, like, I think you're amazing. I think you are X, Y, Z. In fact, his new one, he don't say it all the time, but he has said in recent times, I should have done better. Because I was like, well, you was never showing up at my house with flowers when we were together. So the only time you bought me flowers was when my nana died. And he was like, he's like, I've told you this. Like, I should have done better. I should have been a better partner for you. I should have like been committed to you and not been like, oh, lackadaisical about it. It's like shoulda, woulda, coulda. But he's also very much a man of principle. When he makes a decision, that he's standing 10 toes on it. He's not going back on it. And he said that when we broke up, like, he was like, it would be unfair, because I was freaking out. Like, a couple of weeks after that, I was having a mental breakdown, because I was losing someone that I cared so much about. Well, what felt like I was losing him in the way that I wanted them.
Yeah.
I still have him in my life, but I've lost him in the way that I once wanted him. And he was like, Emma, even if I turned around and was like, let's get back together, it would not be fair, because I've made that decision, and you deserve someone that is 100% for you, and not teeter-totter in between. Let's be together. Let's not be together. Let's be together. He's like, I don't want that.
From what you said, he has a massive fear of commitment, and that just wasn't going to change.
Yeah, but I want to hear that from his mouth.
Right, okay.
And I feel like I've never heard that.
Yeah, you want him to say, rather than, I feel like
I feel like we're going to become toxic.
Yeah, you want
just
him to
say that you can't commit to me because you're scared of a relationship.
Yeah.
You're scared. And the thing is, when we first met, and I think why, this is obviously a red flag, but at the time I thought it was just going to be casual. I never thought it would develop into something more serious. He said, I'm terrified of falling in love.
Yeah, that's a massive
Which is a huge red flag. But I was like, ha ha, he, like, we're just like seeing each other a little bit, like, and then it ended up being a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But he did, and I remember at the time because we went on a drive one day. In fact, this is like pretty deep to do with someone that I wasn't super serious with. But I took him to I had to go to Albany, which my warehouse was in my hometown, and he came with me. So we drove there. I showed him like my whole warehouse. It was like late at night. Then I took him to my favorite place to like watch the sunset, and we sat in the car. And in fact, my granddad's ashes are even scattered up there. And like we watched the sunset, and like was just talking. And you don't have any signal up there, so it's like it's really intimate and like nice.
Yeah.
And I took him up there, and we'd only known each other maybe like 2 months. And I thought it was just casual, but on that drive we had a really deep conversation about like love and why he's scared of like falling in love. And I remember thinking, I'm never going to be with this guy. Like, because I was like, I can't deal with that. And then
here we are.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if someone's scared of falling in love, then it's just like, go and fix it then. Go and fix it, because otherwise it's going to be, it's inevitable. What's going to happen is inevitable.
The worst part is, I feel like this is what always happens, and I know girls get so annoyed about this. Like, they learn their lesson through you and heal through you, and then they take all that good they learned through you
to the next
onto the next girl and give it to her.
Yeah.
Which is hard. Like, that's hard.
It is hard, but someday you're going to be on the receiving end of that, you know, like, so you're doing the hard work for someone else, and, you know, that person will be really happy, but hopefully one day that's going to be you that's on the receiving end of the good work that someone else has done.
Yeah.
Because you've been doing your own good work. So I guess, like, in terms of, I think in terms of painful, like, breakups or whatever, I was in a on and off situation with someone for like about 7 years. I might have talked about this before. When I say on and off, it would be like we didn't see each other for 6 months, and then it would be on again, and then sometimes it would be off for a year, and then it would be on again. But this person was like someone that I was just, I remember sitting and thinking about it, and this is probably like I was in my 20s, and just feeling, I met him when I was 25, just feeling like I don't know how to let go of this. Like, I love this person so much. I don't know what to do. But ultimately, this person did not love me in the way that I loved him. And it would always be like, he'd always say we're exclusive, but he doesn't want a girlfriend, but we can be exclusive, right? So I'm like, cool. And I didn't learn my lesson. And because, you know, I guess that whole chasing men who are unavailable, which I've spoken about before on the podcast, that made me like want him more. But it was things like finding used condoms in his bin. And by the way, I didn't go searching through his bin. It was just right there next to the toilet for me to see. Like, not even like you tried to hide it and you tried to, keep it away from me. There was another time he left me in his house with his flatmate, and then I left to go to work, and my job got cancelled. So I went back into his flat, and honestly, it was like really messy and untidy. So I was like, right, I'm just going to, I wasn't going through anything at all. I was literally just grouping things together and like piling them up because I didn't have anything else to do. So like this group of papers, and the one on the top was like an invoice for a hotel. And when I looked at and it had like room service orders of like wine and et cetera, et cetera. And when I looked at the date, I was like, that's the date that he was supposed to be in like a certain country with his best friend. And this was for another country. And I was just like, what? So you and your best friend were ordering? So I him out on it, and he still lied to me. It's like, bro, we're not actually even together.
Yeah.
At this point, just tell the truth. And I think the biggest thing with this particular person is that he never could be honest. He could never, ever be honest and just say for what it was. And sometimes you need brutal honesty. Like, you need someone to just tell you how it is. And he would never do it. Like, he just wouldn't do it. He'd try and lie about stuff when it's used condoms are right there, or the invoice is right there, or whatever. Like, I know what you've been doing, so just say it. Don't try and make me feel like I'm going mad or I'm going crazy. Or it was just like terrible. And it took me a long time to get to the point where I was like, oh, it's gone. Like, those feelings have gone. And the maddest thing about that scenario is years later, at the end of last year, this person got back in touch with me. And I'm a little bit like you in the sense, and I know you've spoken about this before, where I don't hate him. Like, I have no malice towards him. But, you know, he was kind of like, you know, I've changed. I've been to therapy. Like, I've done all of this stuff. And I was like, that's great. Like, good for you. And he's like, you know, would you be up for like just like spending some time together and doing? So we went on like day trips and did all of this like stuff and like hung out. But I remember saying to my friends, like, I feel like I need to have a conversation with him at the start. Like, what are your hopes with this? What do you want to get out of this? And I didn't. So it got to about like 5 dates in. We'd ended up like kissing. And I was like, hold on a second. It's going to be me, isn't it? I'm going to have to be the person that has the conversation with you, even though you came back into my life.
Yeah. You think that he would be like forthcoming with his intentions if he's the one getting back in touch after you've had so much history.
Right. So I did have this conversation with him, and his thing was like, I know how much I hurt you in the past. Like, I'd never want to do that to you again. I did think really long and hard about, you know, kind of getting back in touch with you. And, you know, it's something that I really, and all of this, he like was saying all the right things, but then his actions didn't really match it. And I said to him at one point, because we're having this kind of like, we had a period of about like 5 days where we met in person, and then there was a lot of like phone and text conversations about like ironing out this, like, can this actually work or whatever. And at one point I said to him, because he'd always been dating multiple people, and he told me about like the relationship that he'd come out of, the last relationship he'd come out of that had been abusive and toxic towards him, and you know that he felt like he needed to go back to therapy. And I was like, yeah, you do. But the reason that I'm not saying that it wouldn't have been toxic, but what kicked off the toxicity at the start of that relationship is he was talking to other people alongside this person. Same old story. So I said to him about me, bearing in mind, he said to me that I thought long and hard before getting in touch with you. I wouldn't ever want to hurt you again. Like, I've got like serious intentions for you. So I said to him, like, are you talking to anyone else now? And he was like, well, there is this one other person, but you know, now we've spoken about it, I'm going to lock it. And I was just like, no. So you couldn't even risk having nobody else to see whether or not things would work out for me. And at that point, I was just like, this is never going to work.
Yeah.
You know, it's never going to work. And but it closed everything for me. That's like, you know, the closure that I got from that was like, yeah. It was just to say it, what I would say from that is it was never me. I realized at that point it was never, because I used to feel like, what's wrong with me? Why is he loving me? Why is he loving me? And that's when I went, it's never not me.
That must be real nice. That feeling of like, oh, like actually closing the book.
Nana stay.
I feel like I've got a situation like that though, like on off for so many years. I'm so confusing and like toxic. And it's like me and him, I don't even know how to explain it or describe it. I feel like I'm getting to the point now though, like where I'm like, I think I'm done with this. Because it's just like, what is this really doing for me? And it's like, I just see through it now. Like, we'll have like periods of not contacting each other and then periods of contacting each other. And I'm just like, in the recent times when we've spoke, I'm like, all he does is talk about himself. He never asks how I am. Like, it's
red flag.
And it's always like days between messages. So I was so busy with this and I'm just like, you're a bit of a really. And it's like, but I've always like stuck up for him because I'm like, oh, he's not like that. Like, he's actually a really nice guy and he's been through all this and that and the other. I'm like,
Yeah, but how you're treating me, you're
literally. I spoke about this with my therapist recently. And I was like, oh, I feel like I give people pardons who I know have
had a hard time.
And my therapist is like, well, you've had a hard time and you don't behave like that. And I was like, damn, you're right. Like, there's people out there who've had a really hard time who also are emotionally intelligent and can communicate and can be a nice person.
Yeah. Because they've done the work.
And they're not leaning on because of this, that, and the other. And my girlfriend cheated on me when I was 5 years old. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not using their story as an excuse. They've said, you know what, I don't want, and you don't, and I hope that I don't either. It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. But there are lots of people who do that, and I think because you're a compassionate person and an empathetic person,
it's too much sometimes. But I can't help being the way I am.
But you can not. You can't change who you are, and I mean that. But it really is about boundaries, and it is about saying, hold on a second, because if you're doing things to the detriment of yourself for the better of somebody else who does not respect you, that's an issue. Like you know, and that's where it's like, right, how can I better protect myself? Because why aren't you giving yourself the same respect that you're giving him? You know, why aren't you giving yourself the pardon? Why aren't you, kind of reflecting that back on yourself? And I think that those people, yes, you've been through a lot of rubbish, you have, but that doesn't give you an excuse to treat other people like And you can be, like we said before, you can be a nice person and be a boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know, and so that can feel difficult and it can feel confusing. But I think for me, like in that situation, what was lacking above anything was clear communication. Like if you just said to me, look, I'm not going to be exclusive with you. I am going to other people and I like you, but I don't want you to be my girlfriend. I know it's hard to be brutally honest with people, but tell me that, because then I could have accepted it instead of you're like, I know some people like having you dangling by a string, because then
it's manipulative though.
Whenever you want, you just go.
It's give people the facts and let them make their own informed choice. What I don't like is the not being informed and having to like make a choice.
Yeah.
But then again, some people will say, well, their behavior is your informant.
It is, yeah, it really is. And I think you know, the wiser you get, the more you know that. And like again, it shows to me my growth that I'm in a situation with someone who's apparently worked on themselves, who has there's nothing that's really changed there. Maybe for him it feels like it's very different. His treatment of me wasn't that different. But before I got into it or allowed myself to get into it, I started the conversation. I pulled him up. I was the one who wanted the clear communication. And once I received that communication, after knowing what questions to ask and being confident enough to ask those questions, I was able to make an informed choice, which is, I don't want this.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think once you are confident in yourself and you know what you deserve and you know what you want, what are you really losing? Do you know what I mean?
It's just hard in that moment, like dealing with the pain in the moment of breaking up, like, is just so hard, but you have to ride it out. Like when me and this guy broke up this year, first month was hell. Like first 6 weeks was actually hell. And I was just so upset and just, yeah. But then as time goes on, you learn that it evens itself out, which is when I started dating other people this year, which is where everything went down creek. Like I should have not done that. Like the era I'm in now is like focusing on myself and having real time alone, which I don't think I've had for a lot of years. Like I ended up in a really bad habit of just constantly dating multiple people, and it just didn't serve me in any way. We'll talk about this in one of our other healing episodes. Boom. But now I'm actually in a space where I'm like, no, I need to be alone. I need to focus on myself, pour all my energy into myself and just heal and just be alone and be happy and figure out what my life looks like without anyone else in it. And that's good. But after that breakup, I was like, have a little alone time. And then I was like, okay, back on it. We need to get back out there. And I ended up in a few really bad situations, which made me feel even worse, which made me more annoyed at myself that I should have just been like, I could have been doing this from when I had the breakup, and then I wouldn't have gone through all this extra hurt and pain.
Yeah, but don't you think it's interesting? Because it feels a little bit like, you know, you come out of the relationship and there's something there to heal, but you avoided healing it. So every experience you attract is like, literally, you need to heal this, you need to heal this, you need to heal this, you need to heal this.
And the universe was screaming at me like, how many times, bitch, can we give you the same situation and you're not going to get it in your head? Like, you need to be alone. That is literally what the universe was screaming at me. It was like, how many times can we keep giving you people that are going to f you over and just be massive walking red flags and you're not going to acknowledge it? How many times? I feel like the universe is sick of me. I feel like the universe or God or whoever is like,
listen to me!
Yeah, literally screaming, shaking me, going, please, I'm begging you to be alone.
Yeah. And I look, you know that I'm a big kind of like, what's the word? Fan of like getting so comfortable on your own that you're like, you enjoy your own company, you can have a good time. Like we on the drive here, you were talking about the fact that tonight you might just go like back to your Airbnb, you know, watch some like TV, chill on the sofa, eat some food. And it's such, I just love the thought of doing that in my own, or like a space where it's just me. To me, just feels so good. Blissful. And sometimes like I crave that and I long for that. Yes, on the other hand, I do also crave for and long for, you know, occasionally to be with somebody else and to be like snuggling on the sofa or whatever. But I don't want that at the cost of, you know,
your own happiness.
Yeah. And that's what it has been in the past. And I don't ever want to lose myself again in a situation. I think, you know, I get, whenever I post about the being single stuff, even clips from this podcast, I will get kickback. And it's I'm going to say 99.9% of times that negative kickback is from men who are telling me that, you know, I've lost my best years. Or there was one where I was joking and saying, by the time this podcast comes out, I might have found my husband. And someone was like, that boat sailed, like all of this stuff. And I'm just like, you know,
Why are they so bothered, first of all?
I don't know.
Worry about your
Oh,
self.
because he told me why I was so bothered, because he thinks that he likes my vibe and I'm an attractive woman. But I've left it too late now.
Because you don't want him.
I've left
That's why.
But I've left it too late now. And the best thing about life is having a partner and kids, and I'm never going to get to experience that. It's like, it's all this kind of like,
they're so creative.
They really are so creative. Like all of that, you know, that kind of stuff. And it just is like, but there was this kind of suggestion that, you know, you're too fussy. There's another guy, we had this conversation, and he was saying he thinks my message is dangerous. Like my message of saying that, you know, you can be happy and single is dangerous.
So we just have to settle.
No, he thinks that message is dangerous because, you know, it's not truthful and it's not. And it's like, well, but maybe it's not for you, but I can only tell you how I feel and what I'm experiencing. But also, if you know anything about me, or if you bother to like read my captions, and I say this all the time, I have never said that I don't think relationships can be a beautiful thing. And I've never said that I don't want a relationship. And I've never said that I want a perfect relationship.
And you've never said you hate men.
Or I've never said I hate men, or that relationships have to be perfect, or that they're ever going to be perfect. They are the biggest growing, you know, ground if you do them properly, where you can have the most individual growth supported by somebody who loves and cares about you and creates space for you. And I know all of that, like it's ebbs and flows. I'm not stupid. I'm not looking for something that's unattainable or unachievable. But the thing that I am looking for, I haven't found yet. Yeah. I'm not, you know, a nutter.
I think a lot of the men in your comments get mad that women, they don't want to work on their behaviors that are maybe detrimental to a woman in a relationship, and they're upset that we won't just accept that. Yeah. That we won't accept their poor behavior. And they're mad that we won't just, you know, accept it. Just because we want to be with someone.
Do you know what? I don't care why. I think it's always projecting. And I think it says way more about the person who writes the comment than it does about me. But I guess like the kind of, my reason for saying that is that, you know, it seems to get I can't understand why people get so like upset about it. I'm like, bro, who cares? You know, so if I end up being a 65-year-old cat lady on my own, that's my business. Why are you worried about it? You know what I mean? Like, and also, you know, we've said this as well. You've seen one tiny thing about me. You don't know anything about me. You haven't bothered to go and find out about my life or my experiences. And this person's concern was that someone might see one piece of my content and make a life decision based on that. And I'm like, that's not my responsibility either. Like I'm doing things from a place of like love and
most women would rather, a lot of women would rather be happy in a relationship with someone than be single. It's just worth saying you don't have to also be unhappy and single.
What's the point of having a relationship for the sake of having a relationship? That doesn't serve you. Yeah. As opposed to being on your own, working out how to be happy on your own, learning to love yourself, doing all of that. And then you can have an incredible relationship.
Exactly. And that's why I am in this situation now where I'm being forced to work on myself and heal myself and be alone, because I do want a relationship. Yeah. I want a loving partner. I want to be with someone. That's what I want. But I can't have that until I look at myself and be alone and work on myself.
Have you ever done like anything crazy after a breakup? Because I know you said you're not very vengeful.
Yeah.
But is there anything you wouldn't like contact like another woman or whatever if
no,
you found
I'm
out
not,
they were involved?
I am not a coming to you as a woman kind of person.
So have you done anything?
No, I'm not it doesn't make me happy to make other people sad. Or like what? No. It doesn't make me happy to make other people sad. I'm just thinking about
myself.
Or like get revenge, because the best revenge for me is just like, it's cliche, but the best revenge is actually just moving on, because that's what's going to make me the happiest. But I don't like, I think it's funny when like you know what? I've never done it, but I've thought about it. This one guy, I went on a date with him, and it was like just after my relationship in that 2019. So it was the first person I dated since then. And because it was all lockdown and stuff. And we went out for dinner, had a really great time and whatnot. We started dating each other, ended up sleeping together. After we slept together, he ghosted me. And I knew where he lived. So I genuinely thought about slashing the cars on his tire. And slashing the cars on his tire. Slashing the tires on his car. And I'm not a person like that, but I was genuinely going to do it until one of my guy friends was like, Emma, it's not even worth it, because you can actually, if you get found out, you can actually get prosecuted. So I was like, there's no point. But I was so close to doing it. I was going to do it. I was so angry. Yeah. I think because it was like, it hit harder because it was like the first person after this horrible relationship. But yeah. But no, I need to tell you a story about something that happened to me this year.
Go on.
So, obviously, After my breakup this year, I was like, time to get back out there. So I downloaded Hinge. I was like, okay, let's see what's out there. Downloaded Hinge, made my profile X, Y, and the Z. Matched this guy on Hinge that was so cute, so handsome, so attractive. And we match and we're like having a back and forth conversation. It was really charismatic. He was like, oh, do you want to FaceTime instead of like texting so much? I was like, oh my God, yes. But cool. I was like, energy. FaceTimed, had a great time. We planned a date. Went on our date. And it was really good. It was like a proper wholesome, nice date. So then we started seeing each other from then. We were seeing each other a lot and it got like intense. This whole relationship timeline probably is like a month long, but it was just so intense. Like I saw him for the date and then he was like, can I see you on Wednesday? Like I saw him on the Wednesday and we were seeing each other a lot, ended up sleeping together. I was staying at his house. I was working from home at his house. Like even the text, like I think I blacked out like how after something like goes wrong, I'm like, was I insane for like thinking whatever? But he wasn't. He was love bombing me. He was so intense. But obviously I should have known it was love bombing. But because I'm so delusional, because I'm delulu, I was like, why would someone not be obsessed with me the minute they meet me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but also
I was like, why would he not be obsessed? So
it's really nice when you're in that kind of like intense phase, if it's genuine.
Yeah. So it was obviously extremely intense. And basically, so I found some texts on my friend's phone the other day and I was looking through it and he was messaging me like, we were going to plan a trip together. Like we were going to go away.
I remember this, yeah.
So we like basically went on the date,
details.
blah, blah, blah. Then we like started sleeping together. I was staying at his house a lot. He was coming to mine. And then I said that I wanted to go on another trip and he did MMA. So he was like, after my fight, I'm gonna go on holiday. Like, let's go to Greece. Like you would love it because I told him I'd never been. We were looking at trips, we were looking at Airbnbs, we were looking at flights. And I was not the one pushing this forward. Can I just say? He was the one pushing everything forward. He was texting me. I've been looking at all these, he liked to go snorkeling. So he was like, I've been looking at all these different beaches, scoping out the beaches for snorkeling. Let's book it next week. Like keep looking at the Airbnbs. So intense. And he was like, obviously I'm a sexy bitch, but he's very conventionally attractive.
Yeah.
Like he covered in tattoos, like just super handsome. Like, So 6-pack, everything, MMA. Fighter boy. So then after that, what happened then? Yeah, everything was cool. All of a sudden one day, he just didn't reply to my text. And like we have been texting every single day since we matched on Hinge and we met up and had our date and whatnot. Didn't hear from him. Like 3 days went past and I was like, Jesus. But I knew he had this MMA fight coming up. So I don't get it, but I was speaking to some of my guy friends. They were like, maybe he's just gone into fight mode. Like he had told me anyway that he was going to stop having for the fight like a week before. So I was like, cool, that's fine. So I was like, maybe he's just gone into fight mode. He wants no distractions, wants no whatever. I mean, you literally could just tell me that.
Yeah, surely you would tell someone that.
But okay, so I was sort of giving
him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I did. And then he ended up texting me a week later saying, what did this text say? It was like, hey, Emma, sorry for my extremely delayed response. It was nothing to do with you. I'm well and I hope you are as well. Like very much like not offering any sort of... So I was like, I gave him 24 hours. After he gave me a week. I gave him 24 hours, then I replied saying, if it wasn't about me, then what was it about?
Yeah.
Never replied.
Was that it?
I got aired, Clara. He just fully ghosted me. Fully ghosted me. So then even then, I was still being delulu. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is actually crazy. And obviously, yeah, crazy. But I was like, let me leave it till after the fight and see if he contacts me. The fight came. The fight went. I ain't heard So the fight was on
never heard from him again?
No, Clara. So it was the Saturday that his fight was. The Sunday rolls round. The Monday rolls round. I'm not hearing but I'm seeing on his story, like, we didn't follow each other, but I found his Instagram and I'm like looking and he's posting on his story and this, that and the other. By the way, he lost the fight, karma.
It's a
I will never laugh at someone's pain, but I don't give a I'll laugh at this man's pain, right? So Monday. So then on the Monday, I sent him a really a text message just basically saying like, what happened to you? Like, I really didn't expect you to go ghost on me. Like, just sent him out. I said, are we drawing a line in the sand between us? Because I'm just really confused. Like, very emotionally mature and intelligent. He never responded. I've never heard from this man again. And you know what? I was so angry. The urge inside me to go to his house and ring his doorbell and just go mad at him. But I was like, what's the point?
Yeah, what are you going to get?
Because he obviously doesn't give a
No.
So what am I actually going to gain from going to his house and calling him out or doing God knows what?
Really.
It won't. And it'll only bring me out of my character, which I won't feel good about. And he will not give a
No.
So, but anyway, after that, about maybe like 2 weeks ago, I went to get some film photos developed. And I got the film photos developed and I opened the packet and the first picture I see is a picture I've taken of him on my film camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're taking the So I was like, wow. So I put a picture of it on my story. I like zoomed in and I was like, I really need to stop. I really need to remember to only take pictures of my friends on my film cameras and not lovers because it comes back to bite me in the ass. And then I put like in the bottom, if anyone recognizes these tattoos, I'm praying for you. 2 girls responded to me. I was like, I know exactly who that is. He's an absolute menace to society. And then I'm going back and forth with this one girl. And she basically tells me, like, Clara, we had the exact same story. She was like, he love bombed me. I was seeing him for like 3 weeks in January and he did X, Y, and Z. And then he called me up one day and told me that his ex was pregnant in another country and this, that, and the other. And so he basically love bombs. And she was saying I was working from home at his house. He was cooking me breakfast. He was doing all this to me. He literally has a thing and he does it he's not from Manchester, right? So shock horror, he's French. So, and I feel like it's sounding like I've got a for French boys, and I don't. It's just that I happen to have got with quite a few French boys. So, anyway, so he's not from Manchester, and then he moved to London for a bit, and then he moved up to Manchester in like beginning of the year.
He's probably done everyone in London. He had to get out of London.
Through all the girls in London, so it's time to terrorize Manchester, basically. I even feel to call his name out on this podcast because don't go near him. Yeah. So basically, like, yeah, this girl was like, he did the exact same. So he love bombs girls. That is a textbook narcissist. Someone that is just wants you to be completely obsessed with them.
And then they go,
I don't give a about it. Like, he has no regard for their feelings. But I just don't understand what he gains from it because it's not even like, it's like if you're trying to girls, okay, cool. But it's like, you don't even need to be doing all this. And like the that we were having was very much me focused. It was all about like him giving pleasure to me mainly.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what was he gaining from this? And like having girls in his space and being so intense. And he was the one who would be super intense. I remember he came around to my house. It was like only like the 3rd time we'd met. But obviously like it's all butterflies. It's amazing. I'm like, oh my God, he's so cute. I really like him. And it's also intense. And we were in my house and I'd been away to Portugal and I'd come back and he was like, I've missed you. Oh no, I can't remember. I think we were hugging in my kitchen and I said, did you miss me? At the same time, he was like, I missed you. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is really intense. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, this is only the 3rd time we've met. And he's like, is it? And I was like, yeah, what do you feel like you knew me in a past life? And he's like, something like that. And
done this before.
Yes. And then we sit on the sofa and he's like, I don't know, like I could long it out. But I know that I like you. And like, he literally said out of his own mouth, when you know, you know.
Yeah, but you know what? He's obviously probably a deeply
insecure person.
No, I'd say he's got real serious issues.
I don't know what it is though, because he's like super like. There's nothing for you to.
Yeah, it's not for me to know. You don't know what his childhood trauma is. You don't know what his life experience has been, and you don't know how he's ended up like that. But that's
insane.
That's not. You know, like like you say, he's an attractive guy. If he just wanted casual with people, he could do that easily. But it's this kind of idea of like a girlfriend experience and then bam, it's the cutting off bit.
That's it.
But it's the cutting off bit as well. That's like, I've gone from making you feel this way about me and then I'm going to completely cut off.
Does he not feel any shame? Like that you're so intense with someone. And it's like, do you think, I'm not even the person that's going to bell off your phone and text you and have a go at you because
but maybe
it doesn't make me feel better.
Maybe
like, I don't give like, but I don't know, like.
But I guess what it does is puts him in a position of power. Like it makes him feel empowered.
He must have so many girls calling and texting him, being like, "You're a asshole." Like,
yeah, does he that makes him feel good? No, because he's the one that's done it. No one's done it to him. He's doing it to them.
How can that make you feel good? Making people sad?
But because if someone hasn't dealt with like their trauma, that can make them feel empowered. Because
that's
say
disgusting.
for example,
That's so disgusting.
Yeah, it is. But say, for example, and I'm just theorizing here, maybe this is completely wrong, but say, for example, in his childhood, he always felt, powerless and could never get the love or attention that he wanted. He's just recreating a situation where he gets all of that, but then he gets to say no. Yeah, he gets to cut it off, and that makes him feel like I'm in control. No one can hurt me again. I've got this. And, there's, I think in most cases, it doesn't make what that person does right or any less painful or, any better.
Yeah.
But generally, there tends to be something that people have experienced that has made them end up the way they have. And their inability to reflect on that and be self-aware means that they keep acting like that. And yeah, they're going to come to a place in their life where they're like, I'm actually really miserable and unhappy, probably at some point. And hopefully at that point, they decide to work on themselves or not. And that's not your business. It's just not your business.
Yeah. I say all that to say, if you live in Manchester and you meet a guy covered in tattoos, bald head, French, but with an American accent, who does MMA, who lives near the AO Arena, stay far away.
He could live in any other part of the UK by the time this podcast comes out as well.
Who knows?
So just beware. Beware.
And his name begins with Y.
Yeah. So you've got all the details.
Away.
Stay away.
Because he's only going to love bomb you and ghost you.
Basically.
Yeah.
In terms of revenge, there was this one particular time with a breakup scenario where I did some revenge. And I quite like this story. So I think I was about 22, 23, something like that. And I met this guy who was like a year younger than me, and the area that I grew up in, I'll say it, Colchester in Essex, there's a university there, the University of Essex, and he was at the uni, I was not. We met each other and we started dating each other, we started seeing each other. I had like my own place, and we would like spend time together. He would come to mine, I'd go to his. At uni, I even went to his home, like to his mum's home in East London, like all of this stuff. Everything was going great. I had a smear test at the time and found out that I had some like unusual cells, or irregular cells. So I had to have further investigation, and the NHS doctor came into the bloody room, bearing in mind I was in my early 20s at this point, with about 5 or 6 student doctors, and I felt really unconscious. And then he started talking about precancerous cells and obviously my experience of cancer. And I left the hospital like crying, like really scared. Apparently I needed to have like laser, all of this stuff. Anyway, I ended up going to see a gynecologist privately for this particular reason. And he was just like, you don't have to do the treatment now. You can just repeat the smear in 6 months and see if things are. Yeah. So that's what I did, and I've never had to have treatment because it did return. It had gone away. Yeah. But during that smear test, that doctor also did a sexual health screen and told me that I had chlamydia. And I was like, hold on a second, because I had a sexual health thing before I started dating this guy, and now and we're supposed to be like exclusive.
Oh my God.
So I went back to him, and he was like, no, it can't be from me. And I've just had a screen done and it was clear, and like tried to flip it all on me. So I was like, okay, cool, like whatever. Anyway, I don't know if I've got the story mixed up and this happened afterwards, but I think I've got the story mixed up, and that was like when we'd already split up that happened, and he tried to make it all about me. But I had suspicions of him, like he was talking to other girls. And my friend and I were out one night in the like local club, in town. And his friends from uni were there, but he wasn't there because he worked as a security. He had a security job in London. So he's like, no, I'm in London tonight doing security, and I won't be around. Like, hope you have a good night, whatever. Anyway, his friends are all there, and they all know me. I know
cough
them.
Is eating you up. Go on.
I know his friends. They know me. They're laughing at me, we're joking, whatever. One of his friends was a bit nuts, this guy.
Want some water?
Why won't it go away? And while I was...
want some water?
I'm so sorry. No, it's done now. So while he's like messing around, and I was like, oh, his friend was like, yeah, he's working tonight. And I've said his name. Anyway,
you have to bleep that out.
I'm going to bleep his name out. He's working tonight. And I was like, yeah. So he was like, cool. Well, anyway, I'm off. And he like ran off, right? And then this girl comes up to me, and she's like, let's say that this guy's friend's name is James. She's like, do you know where James has gone? Because I'm supposed to go back with them to Halls tonight because I'm meeting
the person,
the guy that I've been dating. And I was just like, okay, yeah, no worries. He just went that way. So I was with my friend at the time. She was driving, I believe, and so we were like, right. Do you remember that? There was that show called Cheaters, and it was like cheating is a crime.
Oh my god, I love that program.
So we were like, right, we're gonna bust them. So we like
Busted.
drove, yeah,
with the camera crew.
Exactly, basically. So we drove to the uni, got there, and sat in the car just waiting, and then the car of his mates pulled up with this girl in it, and they were like there outside the uni, you know, like laughing, joking, and then Mr. Man pulls up in his car. The girl gets out with her stuff and gets into his car, at which point my friend went,
oh my
and then,
god,
and like tried to like park behind him, so he was blocked. But he then saw us and like managed to reverse out and just drive off. So he's driven off with this girl in the car, and I was like,
did you follow them?
no, we didn't follow them. We were like, right. I was like, that's it. This guy's an idiot. But this guy, where it had been summer at uni, where was all of his stuff?
At your house.
So we go back to my house, to my flat. I put all of his stuff into a bag. I cut it up. I tipped like hair chemicals on it, all of this stuff in a dustbin bag. He then turns up at my house.
The same night?
Yeah, starts knocking on the windows. Clara, like, I need to speak to you. And I, you know, like most flats, you have an intercom system. So I got the dustbin bag of stuff, put it outside in the hall, and then buzzed him into the hall. And I was like, your stuff is there. You can take your stuff and enjoy. And I'm sure that he did enjoy his chopped up chemical stuff. No, then after that is when I found out about the chlamydia, and I called him out on it. And he was like, no, because she hasn't got it either. Because he was obviously sleeping with other people. That was just one girl, and he tried to make it about me. So sorry, I got the story mixed up there. But I did, I in that moment I took action, and it was like, I think as well, sometimes like when you find out stuff like that, you're on this kind of like high.
Yeah.
And it's not until like the next day where you're like, actually, but also it hurts, you know, like, and it can be really painful. And I think especially if you have like limiting beliefs about yourself, like you're not good enough, or, you know, like around rejection or abandonment, all of these things kind of reinforce that. But that's not what they actually mean. They don't mean there's something wrong with you or your worth or anything, but you interpret them like that.
I really try these days. That's a funny story, but I really try these days to not act out of emotion in the moment. I'd let it rest then see how I feel about it.
Was like 17 years ago.
No, I know. I feel like a lot of people have done that though. Like when I wanted to slash that boy's tyres, and I nearly did it. It's just that I didn't want to get prosecuted.
No, you should have just got his clothes and
I didn't have any. Anyway,
but speaking of revenge, we have asked like other people.
Yeah, you know what time it is for.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot we're supposed
to introduce you're just gonna walk right into it without saying. It's time for Saucy Secrets.
Saucy Secrets. Your secrets and the saucy.
Yep, real juicy. Oh. So today we asked the audience. We asked the public.
Do you know what? Some of our audience are actually the best people.
Yeah, we asked them, what's the craziest thing you did to get revenge post breakup?
Okay, let's we've had a lot of like, you know, the same kind of ones. But I'll start with my one.
We've both got some today, so we can throw them back to each other.
Okay, I'll start with one. I made phone worker flyers with his number on and put them in loads of phone boxes.
Oh,
which I suppose now, like, people don't use phone boxes that much.
Single girls in your area.
Yeah.
And with like a half naked body and just a number.
And it's obviously like a stock photo of someone. It's not going to be the actual person. I bet his phone was belling off as well. Hey, or like loads of messages asking like how much he charges, how much do you charge, etc. for different stuff.
I'd be fuming. I'd start getting all them through.
Hilarious.
Okay, you want me to go?
Yeah, go.
Okay, hold on. I just need to get them up. Okay. Hid his passport before a family wedding in America. And I've had a lot of them. A lot of people saying they cut up their passports or they hiding someone's passport before they have a massive trip to take is just I kind of love it, but it's so annoying.
It's mean that you did that is mean, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, but he must have done something bad to her.
No, it's true, but that it makes you feel better as well. You're just like, yes. This one is from someone I went to school with, and I think this is funny. I put prawns in the curtain pole and prawn juice on the car match.
Are you putting prawns in the curtain pole?
Because you can pull the ends off and put them in there.
But it'll stink.
Yeah, when they start rotting, it's going to be gross. Revenge, revenge, revenge.
I've got one for you. Reported him to immigration for scamming me into a fake marriage. She got him deported. That's one way to get over someone not even having them in your country.
Get
in
out.
The same country.
Get out. Get out.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
Go on, girl.
I got eaten by his brother. I know his brother is taking that to his grave. He cheated on me, so he deserved it.
I'm hearing a lot of like slept with his best friend, slept with his brother, and I feel like a lot of like they would never let on that they did that. But it's one of them ones where it's like given half the opportunity or half the chance, a lot of guys would snake their friends like that.
Oh, they're brothers.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of I hate to say it, a lot of girls would maybe snake their friends. Just a lot of people would snake people
if they thought no one was going to find out about it. Would you? I would never.
When I think about some of my friends' no, never.
In fact, I will go as far to say there have been a couple of times in my life where that opportunity like arose and someone has come to me, and in certain situations, I still haven't told my friends about that. I said no to that person. I was horrified, but I still haven't told my friends because I didn't want to upset them.
There's certain people that like my friends have dated or whatever. I can hold my hands up and be like, they are attractive.
Yeah.
Like, I find them attractive, but I couldn't. If the situation was to ever come where I couldn't do it. I could not do that to my friend.
No.
Because I love my friend.
Yeah, I think.
And even the thing about me, I've got a guilty conscience. The guilt would eat me alive. Even if it was 100% guaranteed, no one will ever find out. The guilt would eat me alive. So I just couldn't do that. And not only the guilt, but I wouldn't want to hurt my friend.
Yeah, no, I think more so than that. Yeah, it's not about the guilt, and also what are you actually getting out of it? Do you know what I mean?
Literally, you're fulfilling some sort of thing inside yourself
I understand why someone would do that as revenge. Like if someone's really hurt you and cheated on you and you're feeling so much
it's not
pain,
on you, it's on them. They've got the relationship with your ex.
You want to inflict that pain back on them. Go on.
Okay. I in a cup and poured just enough into his Cheerio box. He cheated and deserved it. Honey delicious Cheerios covered in
honey Cheerios. My favorite.
That's so bad. That's so bad.
The thing is as well, like, is it better if they don't know what you've done? Do you know what I mean? Like that you can just watch them and you're like, yeah.
They don't. The sweetest revenge when you don't let on what you've done and you just know.
You get to marinate in that.
Yeah.
This one says, my ex was cheating on me with multiple women. The police had him removed after it got physical. I had to pack his stuff. I used his toothbrush to clean the toilet. And then it goes on to say, and the cat in his, and then it doesn't finish.
Cat in his what? Maybe she put the cat in his belongings.
But can I just say one thing on the topic of cat?
Yeah.
When I was at secondary school, my friend's older sister had a boyfriend who was older than her, and they had a really volatile relationship, which was toxic and horrible. But one of the funniest things that she did was she cooked him a cat bolognese. She put cat in the bolognese and he ate it. And he said it was really nice. And then he was severely ill afterwards. She cooked him cat bolognese.
That goes past like jovial jokes and that goes straight to like assault. Like that's assault. That's assault.
Someone on the honey Cheerios, you're okay with that?
Bear Grylls drinks and he's fine. If you had to drink, you would drink. If you had to eat, you would never eat.
I would probably eat horse because it's only grass and straw if I had to.
I would not eat any type of.
There's no goodness in is there?
I would drink. Not out of my free will, but if I had to drink, I would drink.
Or he had to catch.
If I had to eat, I will die.
Yeah, he didn't know he was going to eat. He enjoyed it though.
He didn't know because he was violently ill. Probably had termites and in his stomach.
On the way in, he enjoyed it.
Oh,
it was a very toxic relationship.
Trauma.
It was a very, very toxic relationship.
Yeah, I can tell.
And violent.
Violent, like hitting each other.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So the cat was one of the smaller, more jovial situations.
That's the smaller, jovial one.
I mean, it wasn't my relationship. What can I say? I don't know what else to say.
Okay, I've got one for you.
Yeah.
Signed him up to Jehovah's Witness with his email. Because you know they will never leave you alone. They'll be emailing you every day.
Oh, you need to find like things, like sales companies or whatever, they're just going to keep calling and calling and calling and calling.
Did they used to come to your house as a child, Jehovah's Witnesses?
Knock on the door.
My mum used to be like, get down! Don't let them see you! Literally,
my dad would go to the door. My dad, when it was Jehovah's Witnesses, my dad would go to the door and say, hello. And then he'd say, I just want to ask one question. If my children are in hospital and they're dying and they need a blood transfusion for me to survive, would I be able to do it? And they say no. And he'd say, no, thank you. Because that's you can't do that. You can't have someone else's blood.
Jehovah's Witnesses believe that.
So they would let them die rather than have a blood transfusion. And that's what my dad would draw the line at that. I believe that's correct anyway.
Oh my God. Well, I once answered the door to the Jehovah's Witnesses by accident. And my mum was fuming when I think she was upstairs or something, and I was stood at the door for like 10 minutes and they were just talking to me. And then she came downstairs and she was like, what are you doing? Get that down. She shut the door and locked it.
Right, that's it. I did have one of my good friends was a Jehovah's Witness, and I remember going to it's because it's Kingdom Hall is their church, and I'm a terrible singer, like you've heard me sing, but I do feel like whenever I'm in any kind of church, like that's the one place where I can let loose.
Just let it out, yeah.
But she was in hysterics, and her family kept giving me side eye because obviously I don't know the timing of any of the hymns.
Yeah.
So I can see I've got the words in front of me, but I don't know when the starts and stops are, the pauses are. So I'd just be like there, and here he comes, and then he saved me, and everyone would just be like looking at me like, oh my God,
my
please
dad
take her
used to
away.
sing so loud in church.
Yeah.
My dad literally went, because I didn't get raised like in any kind of religion, but we used to do like the Christmas play like in the church at Christmas. And my dad used to sing so loud so that at the end, the vicar would be like, thank you, everyone. And especially thank you, Adrian. Because he would sing so loud.
Get a special mention in church for his terrible singing. Love it. I've got a lot of repeat ones, like the same kind of things that you said. But this one about passports again is a brilliant one because this is for the modern day passport owner. Cut the chip out of his passport. Oh. He only noticed when he was at the airport with the woman he cheated on me with.
Oh,
you ain't going nowhere.
Oh,
what would happen in that scenario? Like he can't go. The holiday's booked. It's too late now.
That's not an accident. He knows it's been compromised by the woman. Wow.
She did end that by saying, "Oops,
oopsie."
Brilliant. Have we got any more for any more?
I've just got. Let me think. I think maybe I've got one more. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Look at it.
We've got.
But
a lot of people saying they people's dads.
Yeah, that's what I've got. Dads!
Sorry, dads!
What?
Fathers!
No, I didn't anyone's dad. Dads!
He has, this one's actually tight. This is tight. He has huge debt, so prank called that he won big on the postcode lottery. That's so tight, but I kind of hear it. Like,
oh, that's so mean. He's like, my whole life has changed. Yeah, I can pay off all my debt. And then
fake. Also, another shit one for you.
Not about their dad.
No. Put my dog shit on the handles of his car and inside so that it never truly went away.
Yeah. It will never go away. There's no cleaning that's getting that out.
And then we've got one last one.
Go on.
Ordered a takeaway from 20 local places to his house in one night. Cash on delivery.
Your bank account's going to be empty.
Literally.
And you're going to be a lot of food.
Fuming.
But to be fair, I'm still not over people sleeping with people's dads.
No, that was a big one. A lot of people sleeping with their brothers, with their dads, with their cousins, with their best friends. But someone even said that she slept with 3 of the people that play on his rugby team.
Yeah, someone said they slept with people on their football team and then took pictures and posted them on their story the next day so we'd know. What I was going to say, have you ever dated someone that you thought their dad was like fit?
Nah. My friend's dads.
On the other hand?
Have I ever dated? No, no. I don't think so.
No.
You know what? I've seen some of my parents' friends who I found attractive.
Yeah.
Like middle-aged men that I'm like, I would. Like I never would, really. Right. But like if the opportunity was put in front of me, I probably wouldn't. But in my mind, I'm thinking, sexy.
Yeah, fit. You can appreciate.
Yeah. And like obviously like, I don't know if is this just a northern thing? Like everyone's very like, not touchy-feely, but like people that you like, friends of your parents, they'll kiss me like on the cheek and stuff. Some of my dad's like older friends just like kiss me on the mouth. Obviously not snog, just like because that's like what people do.
Yeah.
Is that a thing down here as well?
I mean, I suppose it just depends on.
I feel like it's very working class. Is that a weird thing to say?
No, I don't know. Like, I think it just depends because it's just what's normalised in your
yeah,
circle.
But anyway, so some of them, like some of my dad's friends will kiss me on the cheek and stuff, and I'm like,
slip a quick tongue in.
Yeah.
You know, when they go to kiss you on the cheek and you go like that.
Yeah. Wild.
Try it next time.
Wild.
Let us know how it goes. Guys, hope you've enjoyed another episode of the Things I Wish My Mum Had Told Me pod. We've spoken about breakups today. Gone off on many a tangent.
Many tangents.
As we always do.
Yeah. Fair play.
Make sure you, please.
What?
I don't know what camera I'm
Good
looking at.
English.
I never know what camera I should look at.
That's your wide shot. That's your camera, babe.
Yeah, that's my camera.
camera.
Make sure that you leave a review, a good review. Yeah? All you salty people. Not
Claire was really upset because we got one review that is how many stars
was it? It was a 1-star review.
It was a 1-star.
And up until that point, we had 5-star reviews only. And then one person, salty person out there, who hasn't listened to the podcast because it could never be rated 1 star, gave us a 1-star review and took our average to 4.8.
And now she's upset because we was on a perfect 5-star and now it's 4.8.
I think that's someone taking revenge, just like we've been talking about in this podcast.
Like, it's fair enough if you think it's a 4, if you're like, it's not 5-star, but it is still good, so it's a 4-star.
Yeah.
1 star, you're taking
yeah.
Because it's definitely not 1 star.
It's not 1 star. Have you heard the quality of this podcast? Have you heard the information that goes into it? Even if you don't
heard us crying on this podcast.
Even if you don't like us and you don't care for what we talk about, you cannot say objectively that this is a 1-star podcast.
She's very upset about it.
Cannot say it. So please, 5-star reviews and leave it, like, let us know what you like about the podcast.
Yeah, true. Come and talk to us. We can talk back. So yeah, we'll talk back.
Oh, well, obviously.
Hit us in the DMs.
Yes.
We want to have a chat with you guys.
Yeah.
We want to know what you want to hear, what you like, what you think we could do better on.
And if there's any particular topics that you'd like to hear our opinions on, if you've got any dilemmas, if you've got saucy secrets, all of that adds to the podcast. And we love to have your input and hear your stories. So Mum Told Me Pod everywhere, basically, isn't it? Yeah,
basically everywhere.
And mumtoldmepod at Gmail. Slide into the DMs. Let us know your dilemmas. Let us know your saucy secrets. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be back with another episode
next week.
Real soon.
Next week, every Monday on the audio platforms and every Wednesday at 6 p.m. on YouTube. Yep. Because people were confused about that. They were like, where's the video? And I'm like, it comes out on Wednesday, babe.
Yeah, audio on Monday.
Video Wednesday. It's the same episode, just one's in audio and one's in video.
Thank you, everybody.
There we go. Perfect. Love you all. See you next week.